during Worlds, and he actually performed pretty well, but mostly on the EU. But
yeah, no, I thought that Kog'Maw was going to be big for a while now, and that's, you know, as the game progresses, that's brutal. Like, Kog'Maw is just so strong, and he has so much range and damage throughout the game.
So Incredible Miracle, a lot of you may not know about them, but there's a whole bunch of, you know, old school like Brood War and early like StarCraft 2 teams, which are now picking up world teams. So Incredible Miracle being one of them.
They're actually the most successful StarCraft team in history, aren't they, for StarCraft 2?
They're up there. They're definitely up there.
Don't they have like 7 GSLs?
I believe so. I believe so.
They're trying to, you know, come in and take over the LoL scene. That's the hope.
Yep. So you have in both of these groups, you got, of course, LGIM right here. Also in this group, we got MVP. They have 3 teams. They have 3 LoL teams. We're going to be seeing one of them, MVP White. That's next game coming in. And then actually in the opposite group, we got CJ Entis. Really old, like, Brood War organization, so we're going to be seeing those guys here. But first off, though, Najin, they're looking for that poke. You got the Zyra binds, trying to catch Mundo off guard right there in front of the race. But they're looking for their poke. They're looking for an entry in. They want their in into IM's jungle.
But it is warded off, so yes, they should be able to steal this blue here. It's going to be risky, though. Najin, you know, they are kind of getting caught off here. Orianna is great for that early control, and they do have vision with both Orianna and Jarvan, so they wear them off. But so they're going to go back. It's going to be more of a standard game. But I think the concern for LGIM right now is the fact that Najin Sword, their team is so ridiculous as the game progresses. They have Jace. He's going to be really strong in the top lane, very safe. It's almost impossible to beat a Jace. And he's going to give them poke later on in the game. He's going to give them, you know, great damage and teamfight control. Having both Anivia and Zyra, though, gives them such great line control. It's going to make it very difficult for LGIM to penetrate into Kog'Maw. That's the big concern, is that both of them, they're going to be able to clear. However, LGIM, because they know that, you know, their late game is so powerful for Najin Sword, they're already starting aggressively. They're getting Mundo his red right off the bat, and they're sending the 2v1 top. They want to see if they can take any early advantages with pushing, you know, or come ahead early on farm, because that's what they need. They need to pull ahead early and take control by the mid game.
Yep. And Mundo is going to be escorting them on into top, actually going the long way around, throwing a ward into top river, and they're going to meet the Lee Sin right as he's starting his blue. He does get thrown right in the face by the cleaver. He will be slowed, but he's still edging around, and right now they are being converged upon. You got Jace with the hammer backwards onto the Mundo. He uses up the flash, but it's not going to be enough. That is the first blood for Jace with a red into top lane in a 2v1, and he's using that buff right now. He's getting the slowdown on Anunu. There is the Q to follow him up. A slow added on. You got the heal. Summoner heal coming from Corgi, but will not be enough to save his support there top lane. That is a very rough start.
The lane is over. Jace wins. That's, you know, that down goes, I don't know, their top lane. Down goes IM blank, blank, blank. But, you know, it's brutal. Mac Noon, he's one of the best Mac Noons. Oh, Jace. He's one of the best Jaces, I mean.
He's also the best Mac Noon.
Yeah, he is the best Mac Noon.
Mac Noon is the best Mac Noon.
So that's going to be really tough for them to deal with, that early advantage. Jace is already one of the strongest champions in that 1v2 lane. I don't know how they're going to come back from that in that lane. That really is a major setback, particularly considering that they need to be able to take control of this game, you know, without letting it get a little bit too late.
And you also see here down bot lane, Corki and Zyra, Kog'Maw and Zyra actually doing quite a bit of work here on Jarvan. They did actually pass the blue onto Jarvan here just to get a little bit more poke. He does need it in this setup, and fortunately they're on purple side. They can allow themselves to do that. But Lilac, the poke, he's trying to farm. He's just trying to stay afloat here in the bot lane. And, you know, considering farm-wise, well, he was doing okay, and then Jarvan, I keep mixing them up, and then Jace got red buffs.
And then Jace happened.
Yeah, and then Jace happened.
Mac Noon happened. You know, it's going to be brutal. I mean, Jace, at this point in time, he should be able to beat Jarvan in the 1v1 also if they lane swap, though Jarvan actually is a little bit ahead in levels. But, you know, that's really a tough situation. So Jarvan, he can farm in the 1v2. That's why he needs the blue, so he can spam off those abilities to clear the creep waves. But it's opening up a free farm lane for Kog'Maw. They have no way of pressuring Kog'Maw at all. Even with Mundo coming down here, this is really just to protect against Lee Sin. They don't know where Lee Sin is right now. So Mundo, it's more of a counter tactic. I don't know that they have the killing advantage, you know, in this lane against the Zyra.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, a free farming Kog'Maw, that's what's happening here. And the free farming Kog'Maw is a very dangerous Kog'Maw because you're allowing him to get well farmed into the mid game, into the late game, and that's just not a good time for anybody, really.
Oh, but in the meantime, Watch is coming mid. We've seen how strong he had been in the Season 2 championships. If Song can hit the stun, that would be huge. The slow goes off. Mid King will back off, but Watch putting on a little pressure, actually dropping a ward as well so he can get in there. So I mean, that's actually going to allow him to get off really aggressive ganks for the next 3 minutes.
And we also got...
Oh, it's just in vision range. Oh, that sucks.
That sucks. But, you know, it served its purpose, though. He wanted to help close the gap with the shield. And it did, you know, just good job, Warriors. Just unfortunate that he also had to go down in battle. But Lee Sin's looking to camp out around mid, but he's also making his way down the bot. You got the Ignite going down onto Zyra. They want her dead, but the Flash will keep her out of the tower range. Lilac will just have to sit once again. Mundo, he really has no chances here. And Lee Sin back in the mid. He's got that blue buff. They make something happen. There is the stun actually missing onto Mid King. Song needs to back off, but he's still getting some free harass down. But both of the mids are dangerously low on mana. You got Corki there in the top lane, getting pretty low, drinking that potion as quickly as he can. Still plenty of damage coming in from that Jace. If
they had hit that Flash Frost, then Orianna probably would be dead right now. The Flash is up for Orianna, but Song just kind of missing that, going in for the Flash very aggressively. And now he's in a dangerous situation because Orianna and Mundo, they can burst down Anivia pretty quickly, but more importantly, they're going to be able to take out the egg. So Anivia's going to have to watch out. Though usually Anivia is a really safe laner, so probably not that big of a concern for them. And Lee Sin's been just all over the map so far. Like, Watch, he's just, you know, every left, right, every way, which way is up. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pressure he's putting on, because he's actually coming up into the top lane now.
Yep, and in addition to that pressure that he's putting on, he's also building into the Wriggles. So the counter jungling options are going to be abound. But he's actually just sitting back there in the tri-brush. He gets the Q down onto Corki, lets him know, danger, do not come into this brush. He was looking to recall, but he's put the Fear of Life back into Corki and back into Nunu.
Oh, but Lilac's very low. They can't engage this. Mundo chasing him down a little bit. Really no pressure at all there. Like, that's not even the biggest, that much of a concern. I know it's just a lane swap. Mundo's going to hold this lane for a little bit, but Prey, he's not level 6, trying to poke in, see if he can get something on the Jarvan, prevent that pullback. But this is, you know, it's a 2k gold advantage already for Najin Sword. They're farming effectively in lanes. They've, you know, been able to take those kind of advantages, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they can come back against Najin right now.
You can see the bot lane recalling, everyone's up buying their goodies, and look at how many wards Najin Sword is actually buying this early on in the game. Absolutely incredible, and what should be happening. You got Kog'Maw there, he's got that Northleaf, he's looking for that Zeal also. Lee Sin, he's got the Razor, so that counter juggling is going to be super strong. And Zyra with all the wards you could possibly ever need at Jace top lane. He's got that Brutalizer on first back. That is going to hurt Corki immensely when he goes in for that.
And that's become a really common build on Jace. That's the Mac Noon build. People have been using it before him, but that, you know, that's kind of
it's also
now. Yeah, it's his. But it's just so strong. Like, you can't lose as Jace. In lane at least, once you have the Brutalizer, because you just do so much damage with your poke. You can just sit back and play passively if you need to, but it gives you so much killing potential, which in turn, it's not necessarily that you want to get kills, it allows you to out-farm your opponents. And so that's, you know, even in the 1v2, he's going to be in an advantageous situation there. And so that's going to be interesting to see what he does. A lot of times you see Macnoon roam out of that top lane. And actually, that's exactly what he's doing here. I was about to say, a lot of times he will move. He hasn't moved yet in this game, but he's looking. They do spot him, though.
They spotted him once coming in through from top river. And you see Mid King, he's actually backing off accordingly. Does not want to lose that blue buff, especially against someone like Jace when you already have that Brutalizer, when you already have that cooldown reduction. But you got Nunu throwing down another ward. They got plenty of coverage. You got one in the river and then a tri-brush. But frankly, though, they need that kind of coverage here top lane now because Lee Sin's been around so often.
Well, that's the thing. It's that Watch is, you know, put that fear into them. That's the key. When you have an aggressive jungler that can, you know, make the opponents have to ward themselves. They force ward coverage. And that's what Watch has been doing in this game. They have really aggressive wards to try and shut him down. But he's forcing out the gold from them, and you know, if he decides to go with like an Oracles or something, he could go with that. Mac Noon actually getting pretty low, and with Mundo coming in the top lane, I wouldn't be that surprised to see them push this up to the tower and then try and dive this here.
Yep. As you were talking about, we were talking about fear in junglers before, but that's really a big common thing too with the Korean meta. You see a lot of Shaco played too, and it's just, you know, instilling fear. You don't actually necessarily need to do anything as long as you instill fear in a lane. You can usually come out ahead and you make your opponent activate. It's those scare tactics, which we see a lot in the Korean meta and not really anywhere else. It's kind of like unique to them.
And that's actually why, what people used to say about their Shaco, which is a different play style. Most junglers and like, NA junglers, you see they gank once. If they're not successful, they kind of stop. But Korean junglers, they would gank repeatedly just to get that advantage. Wow, the Q goes off, almost taking him down. Watch almost could have dove in for that kill, then get a quick ultimate off and back off. But they do back off. And again, Jace is just safe to farm. But it's that aggressive style. You force the lanes. It's psychological games. You force them to make decisions they wouldn't otherwise make.
Yep. And while we still have this defense going on here top lane, I actually got Jarvan in mid. He's looking for something to happen there in the mid, but we got going in, and that is a real quick kill. We got the hammer coming in, getting the down on the Corki. Watch, we'll actually get out of there with the shield out, and Eliza's actually just farming the Wraiths. He's counter jungling, while top lane is actually losing members looking for the charge, and Kog'Maw down bot lane is just free farming.
Yeah.
Prey is like, he's like a kid on Christmas right now.
And like you said, Jarvan moving over to the Wraiths, it's because he can't lane against Kog'Maw right now, effectively at least. He needs to let them push him into the tower so that he's a little bit safer. Look at this, he's level 6 and they're both level 7. So it's the right decision on his part to take those Wraiths because he needs to get himself back in this game. And he's going with an aggressive build. So I'm not sure what he's planning on buying, if he's planning on getting Riddles, which would be kind of interesting, but kind of surprising for a lane Jarvan. But probably more, probably like a Brutalizer or Phage or something than Cloth Armor just for armor. But they already take his tower. He can't lane against them. He's behind. Cog's in a great situation to carry this game. 104 CS compared with the 80 for Corki.
104 CS at 11.5, which is
a 4K gold lead.
It's a pretty good lead. It's a pretty good lead to have. And it is strange to see Jarvan so far behind the levels, because usually in the 2v1, if you're only one champ on your side, you're not splitting the experience with anyone. Sometimes it's not too uncommon for someone in the 1v2 to actually have a level lead. Watch getting thrown out by the Jarvan. Ult is trapped. Mundo should be able to come in. And the Dragon aggro just did so much during that fight, so I am getting a little bit of an advantage back there. But you got Jace being caught behind, getting slowed here. You got Corki diving in for the kill, who taking a few tower shots, but finally gets that kill there in the top lane. And you also got the Dragon Gold going to IM, and that is a nice quick catch up there. A little bit over like a 1K disadvantage still in terms of gold,
but
that's what they needed.
Even because the tower as well gets them to even. So that was an absolutely huge fight for them. Lee Sin, it was a 2v3, so they were trying to be a little bit too aggressive because Anivia had just gone back, and that was actually, they thought the bot lane was back, but losing the Anivia and then Kog'Maw not being there either, they had the damage where they could take Dragon quickly, but it was still a risky situation. And when you're ahead, it's kind of unusual to go for those kind of situations, and that all of a sudden brings LG Incredible Miracle back in this game. But we'll see what happens. Song just getting the vision, gonna just stall mid king for a little bit. So that's huge when you have an advantage in lane, and when your team is pushing up, you want to stall them from recalling so that now they can really aggressively push this tower.
And not just sort of, they know the Orianna wants to back, so hey, she wants to back. We got to pressure this tower big time. Keep her here longer. Keep the Orianna denied. Keep her low on mana. If you longer keep her around, the odds are you may get a kill if you go for a dive, but Najin Sword will not be doing as such. Kane going up there top lane. So now Prey, he was free farming down bot. Now he's going to free farm up top now that that tower's down. And he's just getting more and more incredibly fed at this point. He's got his Zeal already. He's going to be working for much bigger damage. He's already got the Dam Scepter too. So that's going to be a very, very dangerous Kog'Maw. He's dangerous already. He's going to get ridiculous once we hit 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, it is really dangerous, particularly since he has such great protection. That's why I love Zyra as a support. Because you have a high base damage, so it really helps you in team fights. You have 2 AP mids, but it also, you have 2 AP carries, but it also, it's very safe, and Kog will be very safe. Though, they're actually in a great situation here, being even, where they can try and push back against Najin Sword, and this is kind of the same playstyle that we had seen, from IG, for example, using the Jarvan. They actually used Swain mid to try and snowball quickly, but with the Jarvan's, this is like the point in game where Jarvan takes over. He's just incredibly tanky, even when he's behind. I mean, he only has 50 CS, so he's very far behind, but the objectives help bring him into this game. But this is the point in time where Jarvan becomes incredibly tanky just naturally, and you try and force things. So it's going to be interesting to see if IM tries to force any fights, in the coming couple of minutes to try and really abuse Najin Sword and snowball this game quickly, because they need to take advantage advantage before Najin hits critical, or before Sword hits critical mass.
Yeah, and also they have a really good setup too to go straight in for the backline for the well-fed people like Kog'Maw. You can just go in with Jarvan with the Orianna Orb already primed. Ult, Nunu ult. Why not throw it in there? So they have the potential. They have the potential to snipe him out. It's just a matter of, you know, getting there.
Oh, actually, Najin's song, he actually picks off IM here. Mundo in a dangerous spot, but he's going to be able to get back. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't engage on that, but Kog was bottom, so they're fine with playing passively. They don't need to be that aggressive. They don't need to force these fights. And the ward is still up, and they're actually just pressuring the mid, and this is where the poke for Jace really comes into play, because Kog still gets to farm, but Jace and Anidia, just the two of them really, can single-handedly control a lane, and they're forcing all of IM into this mid lane, so they're going to fall behind them farm as a result of it, while they're just constantly getting poked down. Yeah,
and those J shots become ridiculously dangerous too when you're grouping up as a full 5 there in mid. You saw there during actually the last tower push when Najin's tier 1 in mid went down. All 5 members were pushing down the tower, and just one J shot was hitting the entire team. Hammer backwards down onto Ori. Wall keeping Nunu behind. He's a little trapped as Zyra binds, keeping him behind, and that's going to be more than enough to keep IM back a little bit further. Kog'Maw is now back in the mid, pegging away at the tier 1. Should be going down momentarily. Jarvan is not with the team. He's struggling to try and catch up, and that is a gone tower.
Going down there. And that the dangerous thing is it wasn't ultimates. Najin Sword, they didn't have to use their ultimates in order to get such a quick advantage. No. They have you know, multiple common ability, I guess, disables that allow them to quickly pick people off, and then they can disengage very easily as well, and that's really dangerous. So no disadvantages. Like Najin Sword, they didn't have to overextend or anything to put that much pressure onto Incredible Miracle.
One quick shot off on Mundo. He does have that Oracle, so it would be very nice and very convenient if Najin Sword can actually take that out, keep that off of IM's roster, because that Oracles at the very least is going to help IM immensely to possibly do some further 5-man pushes in the mid, or even just roam through enemy territory, to roam through the enemy jungle. But you got to protect that Mundo. Granted, he's got plenty of health on him, but you have 2 ignites on the team. You got plenty of damage. You got plenty of CC too. And also remember that Kog'Maw's damage, it is percentage based when he goes in for those team fights. So that could help. That could hurt the Mundo pretty immensely.
Yeah, they have a very tanky team. Some AD carries, you know, might struggle with that kind of a tanky team. Kog's really not one of them.
No, he doesn't.
He has that Phantom Dancer, which is, you know, the really common build. And
before 20 minutes of that.
Right. Well, it's, you know, that's the expectation. You get it really early. You get it faster than most AD carries are going to get their main damage item, and you already have enough damage with your W that it's not really that big of a concern. But they're in a great situation here. IM, they really need to make some things happen. Like you said, the Oracles is great because it allows them to maybe catch Najin Sword off guard, but they just kind of keep on poking at him. They want to make sure they keep vision of him. And the ward coverage right now, because they're at a disadvantage, Mundo's a little bit scared to clear out those wards, but they need to be able to push into them as a team, clear out those wards, because it's going to allow them to take really good risks and force fights very quickly that could bring IM into this game.
Yep, and if you also notice Najin Sword's warding, it's actually it's a little bit deeper than most wards you usually see. You see nothing really on their end of the jungle. They have pretty much all of the entrances. Well, had all the entrances. Now you got wards that are starting to die out here. All the entrances here down in bottom jungle covered. You got Kayn right there in the bush. IM doesn't, they're careful, they're being very cautious, but they now see the Zyra actually leave. And right now, Sword's actually in a good position to take that Dragon wards expiring in the pit, actually being taken out. I am looking to engage here. Yeah, we saw what happened with the Dragon last time, actually pigging away at Sword as they're trying to leave, and it kind of a spell doom, it kind of gave up the Dragon last time.
Well, Sword has to be happy with just poking them down right now, and if they can split IM, that's perfect, but they don't need to force a fight. Sword, they can declare the tempo of the game right now, and it's really dangerous. Actually, a pick off from Kayn gets some quick damage as they're going for the blue. Watch does take some damage over the wall, but they're still in a great situation, and already, Lilac being so low, it means that they're not going to be able to engage as aggressively as they would like.
Yep, and also I want to note here from Zyra too, all the plants set and ready to go. There goes the ult through the wall. You got Jarvan looking for the backline and dies, but in midair looking to get the ult and will not. That is a double kill for Kog'Maw. Killing Mundo, the Oracles is now gone. The Incredible Miracle in a full-on retreat. Munu's not going anywhere. Triple for the Cog. 4 for 1. Incredible fight.
Yeah, Kayn instantly won them that fight, and that's the strength of support Zyra, is she takes over games, and a lot of supports don't do that, but they're very quickly able to get that. They're going top, Mac, Noon, and Prey. They can get this kill. If he gets them over the wall, Corki pretty low, but they're actually just going to split push. And so Zyra's going to go back to the Dragon. With the Seedlings, she should be able to take that by herself if she decides to. And that's absolutely huge. So taking the vision advantage, because IM hadn't been able to push it out in a while, they weren't able to get good ward coverage, and Kane just taking advantage of that, kills him over the wall. Lee actually died to the Dragon in that fight. He wasn't able to get out of there in time. But even so, it was an instant win for Sword, basically. And Kog is one of the best champions in the game at cleanup.
I was expecting the cleaver. I was expecting that cleaver. But yeah, Kog'Maw is definitely one of the best in cleanup. He has the range. He's got the artillery fire. And if he's safe on the back line, he just runs absolutely amok. Looking at the item build so far, now you got Cog built. He's already got the attack speed. He's got that Fan Dancer. Now he's looking for damage. He's got the Death Sword. You got Anivia looking to, you got the Catalyst too. So Athene's first, and possibly you could go into Rod of Ages later. You got right now Lee Sin. He's going a little bit on the defensive end, a little bit of everything. He's got that health. He's got his GP10 and Jace building more and more damage. He's got a BF sword of his own, in addition to the brutalizer earlier. And you notice over on IM side, you got Jarvan. He's gonna be that front line. He's starting to build a little bit tanky. He's got the chain vest already, and health on Mundo. Health, that's really all you need on Mundo, but you also need good team backup to help make sure that he actually lives in these fights.
I'm just kind of concerned that IM's not out-comped right here. Because that's kind of the situation they're in. They need to be on the offensive with Jarvan in order to be able to win against Kog'Maw, but they can't because they're going to be walking right into Zyra and Anivia, who are going to be able to shut them down with their nasty AoE damage.
Right.
So that being the case, they have more of a defensive team where they can poke. Nunu helps them control the line, but that means that Kog'Maw is going to use the damage to Corki. But there's the engage, Orianna ultimate, the Zyra ultimate as well. Jarvan holding them together there, and this is where Prey can shine. But IM's actually in a great situation. It looks like they're winning this. They're turning this around against Sword here. Everyone is low though. They have to watch out that they don't get picked off. Magnoon, he could actually go in for a combo here and maybe pick up a couple of kills.
And IM, despite winning that fight, is actually still cautious because everyone is low, and they know that Kog'Maw can absolutely clean every single one of them up.
Corki just barely using the heal against the Magnoon Jace, very close to going down.
And despite being 2 men down, Najin Sword is still pushing into this because they know how ridiculously far ahead they are in the lead. One more artillery shot will take out the Mundo. Very well done. Nice snipe behind tower, and satisfied with that, satisfied that they took out the boss, the businessman, they will back off.
And it was huge that IM was able to win a fight. Like I was about to say, they need to be aggressive with Jarvan and get that initiation. And the concern is that they were dying too fast to the AoE. That's still a concern, but if he gets tanky enough, then that could maybe work out for them. The concern for them then, though, is that they don't have that second round of initiation. Yeah. They have a pretty mobile team as far as movement speed. Nunu, Mundo, and Orianna all give them enough movement speed to chase, but the kiting potential for Najin Sword is so strong that if Jarvan gets into that backline and can't cordon off Kog'Maw in the fight, then Kog'Maw is just going to be, safe, and that's really dangerous as the game progresses. But still, not looking as badly for, or as poorly for IEM as it maybe originally seemed.
And that last fight was pretty much like the best initiation they could ever hope for, and they actually did some pretty damn good stuff with it. They got their 2 kills managed. Granted, they lost Mundo. They may lose him again here. Yeah, at least going in for the slow, the wall, keeping them behind, putting some scare into them and make them use that ultimate. But no, the last engage was picture perfect. Jarvan going in straight for the back line with the Orianna orb, followed it up by the ult. It was a wonderful engage, and I hope we see that again.
Yeah, it's just going to be dangerous though, because Sword, they can kite very effectively. They know that they don't need to risk those kind of fights, and so they're fine with slowly farming. So really the pressure isn't on Sword right now to make things happen, but they're still doing it anyway. They're still looking to be extremely aggressive and take advantages with their gold lead. The pressure's on IM to try and take it back from Sword. And now we're seeing they're actually pushing mid a little bit, but Mid King already getting worn down. Just a single Jace shot. And that's partially why you need to get like an Aegis against Jace, just to get that team physical damage, because really, he just has such great damage output.
You got the bind onto Nunu. He's got the oracles. He needs to hold on to it. You got the speed boost and shield to help protect him on his way out of his own jungle. There is the blue respawn. Sword should be able to take it quickly here. You got the wall, keeping Mundo behind. Has no choice, has to flash out, does not want to be stunned. But you got Jarvan a little bit behind. Jace getting pegged over the wall. That is the Orianna ult. Last time it got the entire team, now used 2 ults. just to take down one Jace. Not the most efficient thing in the world. They lose their blue, but I am still looking to get kills, looking to make something happen.
Well, Noon just playing a little bit too aggressively there. He was really confident in himself and his team, and he wanted to force out Jarvan, and he actually did a good job. I mean, forcing out the Jarvan, it prevents Jarvan from being able to engage on his team. Like he didn't want them to just have a sneaky engage over the wall or something like that while they're all doing blue and get caught unawares. But he was a little bit too zealous with his work, and Corki was able to hit him over the wall.
He was too much of a man.
Oh yeah, well that's there is no such thing, sir. How dare you? Draven and Jace would not be pleased, but. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it was the right decision to try and zone him off, just getting caught out a little bit. So it slows them down some, but they were able to safely get the blue. It's a 3K gold advantage still. He has the BF sword, or the Bloodthirster, so really that's a poking Jace. You have so much damage. You don't have quite the same survivability that you would with the going with the Triforce, but it allows you to regen. It allows you to just, I mean, his poke is just absolutely going to be devastating. And when they're having these long sustained laning fights, which is what they're doing, they're able to kite them, which, you know, it lets them do this kind of a poke game.
Yep, and he's also got the, Jace also has the red elixir as well for a little bit extra damage and that impromptu heal if he needs it. Kog'Maw still continuing to get farmed. He's now got the Infinity Edge, so he's got tons of damage. Now, in addition to that attack speed, that is a very threatening Cog. But you got Shield all moving up north. Kog'Maw a little bit behind. He's waddling. He's making his way in, but there are wards being cleared. You got Nunu still with the Oracles, though, but yeah, it's just a matter of actually getting to the areas in which where the wards are at. And Sword with their poke, they're not going to be allowing that anytime soon. And right now, they're pushing up the top tier 2. They need to scramble to get there just to try and stop this Cleaver's going down, not hitting their mark. And Nunu not with the team, he needs to hurry. That is the wall off, keeping the Mundo behind yet again, making them late. You got the Jarvan coming on in, followed up with the Orianna. Jarvan gets the hell out of his own ult. He needs to standard out. They're looking to deflect this push. They're doing an okay job so far, but you have so many healthy members of Sword still here, laying in wait. You got Lee Sin getting his health back off the small golems. He's regenerating while he can, but the push still continues with more shots going towards the back line. There's the bind down on the Mundo. Wall is back on up. Will go down here underneath his own tower. Everyone from IM needs to back up because they know once that wall is back up, it will happen again.
And it's great positioning from Najin Sword. In particular, Kayn sitting down on the south side of this wall. And the danger is if they all move up in this lane to push, then Nunu can come around the backside. He can get an absolute zero right in the middle of the team and force Kog'Maw in a situation where he doesn't have a good escape route. So keeping Syra on the other side of that wall, it allows them to be really safe. They're constantly, you know, zoning IM. And even though they were a little bit low, Watch had kind of got caught off. It was actually a monumental effort by IM in order to try and take Watch down, and they still weren't able to do that. So we saw, you know, IM, they were a very tanky team at this point. You know, when those fights happen, they're not taking a lot of damage, but it's the slow poke and the fact that they don't have enough killing power to instantly win a fight. But this might be it. If they can push in here, Najin's kind of out of position. They do get the dragon, but they get out almost immediately with the acceleration gate.
And that was an incredibly fast dragon at that. That's what the farm does. You have so much damage. You got a Wriggles on Lee Sin also. If and when the Baron comes, that thing is going to go down ridiculously fast if you give Najin Sword the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I mean, they have that kind of speed, and that speed will carry over to Baron as well. You know, so that's really a nice advantage for Najin Sword, but they probably won't want to force anything just because they're fine with, they want the laning phase. Or sorry, they want the long lanes because with the poke and kite team that they have, they need to bottleneck the enemy team so that they have to, in order to get to Kog'Maw, they have to run through the entire Najin Sword team, and Sword can keep them positioned in front of them. So that's a positioning thing. Yep. If they go for the Baron, then they open up themselves to, you know, being surrounded from multiple sides, to them, you know, not having the best positioning, maybe Kog'Maw getting caught out. And when you're ahead, and particularly since they know they have that late game, they probably don't need to go for it. So they'll probably just continue to pressure right in on the towers, but the threat is still there, and that's something that, you know, Incredible Miracle, they have to keep in mind. And you see defensive ward coverage because they know they need to be able to catch out Najin Sword, but they're not getting the opportunities that they would like to. And
those defensive wards, you know, slowly but surely, Kayn's looking to take those out. He's throwing down the seeds just in case someone comes by. Throwing down offensive wards in response. Is there actually a ward in the pit from IM?
Very close to getting caught off. there is not a ward in the pit, so they don't have vision over the Baron if it happens, but they have a couple of different ways where they can check the pit, so it's not that big of a concern.
Yeah. But it would be nice because you got Sword actually moving on up. They may attempt a rush here. They saw Orianna and Mundo actually heading down south because there was a ward placed offensively there earlier. There, like you said, there's that standard that does give vision for a short time and allows them to enter in. But there is the stun. Gets caught over the wall. Lee Sin with the kick backwards, and that is one dead Jarvan the fourth. He had no chance there with all the poke.
And that was great coordination. I mean, the entire team, they knew what to do. They had multiple people engage on them at the same time.
Watch doesn't care.
He wants to force a fight here because they know they have an advantage. He's just going to chase down Nunu, force him off.
Corky's not with the fight.
But everyone, they engaged at the same time, and then immediately Anivia walled off the side entrance, so there was no chance for IM to turn it into a fight. And now they're pushing right into the base. Another wall off, catches off Nunu, almost gets the damage. The Flash Frost does not hit, but they're trying to get him over the wall. At the very least, they do have to worry about Macnoon being low. At the very least, though, they have 4 really healthy members, and it's a nice little advantage to take some golden objectives.
Yeah, also, Corky just was not with the team. He was off herp derping down bot lane trying to farm. He's like, guys, I'll be right back. Don't do nothing. Give me a second, and mid-tier 2's gone.
And what was he going to do? And a lot of times you have to split push because you know, all right, we're at a disadvantage right now. They're not going to be able to force a fight 4v5. That's an easy way to lose the game. I mean, the second you force a 4v5 fight at your base, the enemy team has the option of taking not only an inhibitor, but potentially the Nexus as well. And so you want to constantly keep the lanes pushing. That's all Corky was trying to do. He's trying to farm up, he's trying to stall, and he knows that he wasn't going to do anything mid anyway.
Mundo out in front looking for cleavers. He just wants some harass. He wants something, anything. Give me a reason to try and engage. But I am still looking to try and snipe out any kills they can. Throwing some wards offensively this time there on the tri-ramp. But you got Zyra and Lee Sin actually on the side, in front of the Baron pit. They could look for a pinch here if anyone from IM gets a little bit too hasty, but also clearing out all the wards. In the meantime, Song getting hit by the cleaver. You get one good wall. That could be another kill on the Mundo out in front, but just loves eating those dream cases for the time being.
Yeah, they're in a great situation here, particularly since Paragon just took a chunk from Jarvan. They're going to have to back off. But Najin and Sora, they can just wear them down underneath those turrets. Kog'Maw's great at poking down turrets. He will want to be safe, doesn't want to allow them to engage, but they are in complete control of this game right now. It's a massive gold lead. They've been in control for a long time just because of their team comp, and they're actually waiting off. They might try and pick someone off, particularly Mundo if he decides to walk and check anything. Yeah,
right now it's logical. It's like, we need to check Baron. We need to make sure that nothing's trapped here, and you're gone. Mundo had no chance. The rest of IM realized, well, they had to check. They needed some means of checking to make sure that they weren't doing Baron. It was right on Najin's sword to just sit and wait it out because, like, well, it's the logical thing that they would do. And now they're making the transition here. They're going to go down more than happy with taking down the bot tier 2, making the transition, just making sure all the lanes are weaker for when that next push comes in.
I'm surprised that's not something we see more often because they took advantage of the lack of map control that their enemy team had. So no ward coverage, they knew it because they had the oracles, they knew it for a while. It allowed them to bully them around some, and they're not going for the base turrets yet. They're making sure they have all the outer turrets. They're making sure all the lanes are pushed up, and by pushing all the lanes, they know that every single fight that they win from now on is probably going to be an inhibitor, and every fight that they lose is probably going to be meaningless. They're in a situation where even if they all die, they're going to respawn fast enough before IM is actually able to take anything except for maybe Baron.
Oh, they're doing it again. They're waiting it out, just sitting there in the bush. They know they still know that there is so little ward coverage here from IM, and there's they still have the oracles there on Nunu, so you can still clear out the offensive wards that Sword may put into the jungle, but they can just sit in a brush themselves and get another catch like they did on Mundo previously. But they are taking, like you mentioned before, they are taking all the outer turrets. I imagine that a lot of other teams would have probably actually tried to push in, try and get an inhibitor, and then go for Baron right now. But they still know that with the initiation coming from Jarvan and Orianna, if they get too overzealous, that could be a Kog'Maw in the backline who's disrupting it out of the fight.
I'm surprised, though, at this point in the game that IM still doesn't have a Shirelia's.
Oh, wow.
Aegis, that's kind of a decision, but Shirelia's at the very least, because they need to be able to force initiation sometimes and pick up quick kills, the movement speed would be huge, but I don't know, I guess they just kind of give it up. They want to go for, you know, different item builds and go for those tanky items. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong, are the teams backwards? No, they're not, okay. I was confused. Never mind. But so they don't have an Australias, and that's going to, I don't know, it's going to make things difficult for them. It makes it difficult for them to force engages, and that's why we've seen Najin Sword is in complete control of the pace, because IM's not really making any moves and doesn't really have those options to.
Yeah, and while they may not have Australias, they do have at least one Randuin's. You got Mundo who's actually building on a second, so at least when they go in for the engage, they can make it more difficult for Sword to actually try and disperse. But you do have Kog'Maw now on his last back, bought the Guardian Angel. And it's going to be so much more difficult to try and take him out of these fights. Sword starting off on the Baron, but backing off, knowing that IM is coming on in. Watch with a nice flash to get away from the Jarvan pop-up. And IM, positionally, they're doing okay here.
Well, this is a great situation for them because they know that a couple members of Najin Sword are pretty low, and they have an Oracles, so they can try and force this Baron and not allow Najin Sword to recall. That's the key, is don't allow them to recall, but not necessarily take the Baron, just force a fight right now.
Right. Try and do to Sword what Sword has done to them previously. They're all hiding that bush. They're all waiting for the opportunity. But Zog right out in front. Immediately gets popped up. Will he actually live in this fight? He will be egged. So just need to wait for the revive if he gets it. Got James actually forced out of the fight. Nunu with the explode down on Elisa Prey. Getting very weak, but you got Zera over on the ridge. There's the Guardian Angel prop. Will he be able to clean up here? He's got a lot to deal with. It is a 2v1. There's a triple. Will he get it? That is the Quadra coming in from Kog'Maw, cleaning up that fight, doing what he does best. That is the ace for Najin Sword on a disadvantaged fight.
That's as good as it gets for IM. They had the perfect engage. Najin Sword, they lost the vision, and that's what IM wanted. They wanted to be able to force the Baron while Najin Sword was going to lose that vision, so they had an engage right under the group, and Prey was just too strong. Kane was over the wall, just knocking him back. They get an inhibitor off of this, and that's, you know, very likely they're not going to find an engage as sweet as that again, and with this gold advantage, and then also the lane pushing advantage. That's going to be brutal, but there's still enough time. They could maybe get the bot. No, they're actually going to back off. So being really safe.
Play it safe.
You know, they know they have to get back quickly, because if they actually went for that turret, they probably wouldn't die. But what would happen is IM maybe be in a situation where they could just rush Baron and not allow Najin Sword to recall. So they, you know, take what they needed to. They get back, and they're going to be back in time to defend an Baron or force a fight.
Yeah, and you know, Prey should be able to get back. But remember that Prey does not have that Guardian Angel proc anymore. He's not going to have it for about another 4 minutes or so. But I think it's going to be plenty of time. I don't think I have to really force anything on this. And they have to be demoralized after that too. That was your best case that was your best case initiation, and you got aced. But actually, also remember too that the Nvidia angle is also down, so it's going to be a little bit easier to figure down.
So, I mean, that's brutal for them to have to kill them twice. Now, you know, they can maybe work something around that, but they need to be able to force a fight while that's still down. And having the inhibitor down, it means that they don't have that option.
Right.
So even though, you know, if they could force a fight now, it might be a great situation for them. With the inhibitor down, Najin Sword can play as defensively as they want. They don't even have to pressure Baron. They're going for the bot because they know if Incredible Miracle decides to go for Baron, then they're just going to outright lose the game, because Sword will be able to take the Nexus before they can get back. And now they can just poke, and this is where the lane advantage comes in.
One shot from Jace over the wall, just shaving off a quarter of the health off Orianna. Still looking for more of the shots over the wall, and here comes that bogey, that Kog'Maw with the artillery shots going straight on in towards the backline, and they can just stand here and push all day. Super minions are pushing up in the mid. They should be making their way into their base following this wave.
Well, this wave, should definitely take down that turret.
Definitely, absolutely. And there you go. You got Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw doesn't care. He's tanking the turret. He doesn't mind. Well, just 2 more shots, and the tower will be gone, and then the push will then proceed now into the inhibitor. Mundo looking for cleavers in absolute desperation. Just 2 more shots, something, anything. There's Frank gets a poke on, and there's a quick initiation and back. A little bit indecisive there from IM, but before you know it, that is 2 members already down. There's a double kill for the Cog. You got Lee Sin getting the kill onto Ori, go straight on in, watch, slowly making his exit, and now you got the 2 remaining members of IM. They have no option. Prey, the laser almost taking him out. But both remaining members of IM, they can no longer leave their fountain, otherwise they're going to die. The Nexus turrets are being focused down quickly and efficiently. Corki looking for missiles, hoping that one will thread the needle and get that Kog'Maw, but Nunu slowly making his way back to Fountain. Paragon, Corki in desperation looking for kills right on the stoop, but that is it. The Nexus is being focused and will fall. Najin's sword so far 1-0 in the group stage.
Yeah, a great situation for them. The unusual double kill, don't usually see that. I mean, the double Nexus, yes, but the double fight.
Always good.
But they're able to win that. Oh, I should have left that screen up.